The Irish Sea as well. Keep Atom 4, 15-2 Stormez and Hidden Bounty, 9 Mr. Nora and Mine Namaika, 14 GVA Island, 16 Back on Top, 20 Derivative, it's 25 bar.
For the Pertemps final, big field on their way, 2 laps of the track. Mutineer with GVA Ireland in a noseband, the Belgian Bandit and Hidden Bounty in an orange jacket in the firing line at flight number 1. Out wide is Rostropovich, one of the greys. As Mutineer, another grey, takes them along. From GVA Ireland, Hidden Bounty, the Belgian Bandit and Stormez on the inner. Rostropovich is wide then from Amuna Muka, and then deep on the course is Freetown of Derivative and Alexander the Great and Hibs Nibs. Next is Homely Mooncoin, followed by inching closer Stromness Brewster. Hard up against the inside is Tardar in a green and white jacket. Then Creon out wide of the favourite Keep Atom, who's held up towards the rear, along with Personal Assurance, Imperial de Tai, Carlavant. Mr. Nura held up, so too Columbus, one from last, and Back on Top looks on from last place. Down the back straight, Mutineer opening up a lead of about 5 or 6 lengths to GVA Ireland, and the Belgian Bandit and Hidden Bounty on the wide outside. Wider out even than Hidden Bounty is Rostropovich. Stormez back on the inner of Amuna Muka, and then Brewster with Alexander the Great in that bunch, very tightly clustered together in these early stages. Towards the back, Columbus, Back on Top, Carlavant, also Imperial de Tai and Mr. Nura on the inside. Mutineer lands over the next from GVA Ireland, Hidden Bounty and the Belgian Bandit, Amuna Muka, and then Stormez on the inside. Freetown is handy now, the white jacket out wide in the green striped sleeves. Homely Mooncoin is also prominent out deep on the course as they run towards the next flight of hurdles going uphill. Mutineer on the inside of GVA Ireland, and then the Belgian Bandit with Hidden Bounty and Rostropovich, Homely Mooncoin, Amuna Muka and Stormez, and then Freetown and His Nibs and Brewster. Tardar still right on the inside of inching closer. Then Personal Insurance. Behind Personal Insurance is then Stromness and Alexander the Great as they reach the top of the hill, running down the hill now. Back on Top still held up towards the back with Imperial de Tai and Keep Atom, and also Creon on the outside with the white face. Down the hill towards the next, and it's Mutineer that still just about leads over this one as they stream over it. Mr. Nura is one of the back markers, and it's Mutineer on the inside of GVA Ireland, the Belgian Bandit and Hidden Bounty, and Rostropovich is going the long way round. Up the inside is Stormez then of Amuna Muka and Brewster. Homely Mooncoin is deep, Derivative also wide as they clear another. Then inching closer with close-up Stromness in the ruck as well, with His Nibs and Personal Assurance wide of Tardar. And then Alexander the Great. Keep Atom is not got too many behind at the moment, but within 8 lengths of the pace. Creon is wide, Back on Top, Imperial de Tai, then Columbus, Mr. Nura the inside, and Carlavant is last. They've completed a circuit then in this Pertemps final, and it's Mutineer that's made most of the running so far, but with the exception of the back marker Carlavant, they are still tightly grouped together, and it's Mutineer by a length to GVA Ireland and the Belgian Bandit second and third. Hidden Bounty is 4 wide of Brewster, and then Amuna Muka and Freetown with His Nibs and Homely Mooncoin, tracked by last year's winner inching closer. Derivative is now driven along. Stormez back on the inner, along with Personal Assurance in a red jacket. Stormez just hitting a flat spot and has to be pushed along by Tony McCoy. Then Stromness and Alexander the Great, followed by Keep Atom, who's going well under a quiet ride. Mr. Nura up the inside, Derivative wide of Columbus, Imperial de Tai, Creon Back on Top, Rostropovich, Carlavant. Over the next then, and getting a bit more spaced out than they were, but it's still Mutineer on the inside of the Belgian Bandit. Hidden Bounty has always been prominent, so too GVA Ireland. Brewster moves up on the inside of Amuna Muka, followed through by Tardar up the inside as well. And then behind these, Stromness has made some headway. Freetown is still in the leading group with Personal Assurance as they clear the next. And looking beyond these leaders, Mr. Nura making ground. Keep Atom is getting closer now on the outside, out of trouble as as well. Stormes continues to be driven along. Back on top is improving from the rear, and Creon is also getting closer as well. A very competitive looking race as they run uphill towards the next flight of hurdles, and it's Mutineer joined by the Bajan Bandit, Hidden Bounty and GVA Ireland very close. Amuna Muka in the very pale colours. His Nibs on the outside of the two leaders now goes very close. White in the red and the red stripe. Then Alexander the Great, Bruce to the inside. Keep Atom getting into the race very readily indeed. Now goes into 6th place, 6th or 7th on the outside in the white cap on JP McManus's colour as a big danger, and in the Magnia colours back on top. The dark blue out wide also improving as they hurtle down the hill. Inching closer has a chance again. So too Creon. Brewster on the near side. Running down to the third last then. Anybody's race. Mutineer and GVA Ireland. Down there was Tardar when in contention. Columbus is hampered, and it's GVA Ireland from Mutineer. His Nibs. Keep Atom away to the left. The extreme left is back on top. Then Alexander the Great, Amuna Muka and Creon and Personal Assurance. Here's the second last then. Who will rise first? Mutineer and GVA Ireland still disputing matters here. They're queuing up behind. His Nibs on the outside. Keep Atom now comes under pressure. Then Alexander the Great beginning to run on. They straighten up for home with one flight to jump. GVA Ireland from Mutineer. Out wide is his Nibs, and then Keep Atom in the white cap. Alexander the Great now bursts between horses over the last. Alexander the Great and GVA Ireland. Far side Mutineer. Then his Nibs. Creon running on well. Keep Atom can't find any more. It's GVA Ireland just ahead of Alexander the Great, but Creon is eating into their lead. Creon on the far side of GVA Ireland, close to the finish. Creon gets up to wrest the spoils from GVA Ireland. Then Alexander the Great, his Nibs, Amuna Muka and Mutineer.
Well, here in the studio, 50-1 Creon under Timmy Murphy, an inspired Timmy Murphy, I think you'd say. GVA Ireland 14-1. A couple of our esteemed production team were rooting that one home. Alexander the Great was third, 25-1, and his Nibs fourth at 25, so ran really well. Keep Atom was the 4-1 favourite, the other JP McManus horse, of course, and all